Well, first up this afternoon, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has announced that Ghana is set to secure financing assurance from the Paris Club of Creditors in the coming weeks. The move is expected to help fast-track approval of Ghana's program request from the International Monetary Fund. Mr. Ofori-Atta has been speaking at a news conference to wrap up Ghana's engagement at the just-ended annual IMF World Bank Spring meetings in Washington, D.C.
With regards to our conversations with external creditors, our discussions with the fund and our development partners have been marked by a clear understanding of the need to restore macroeconomic and financial stability to Ghana and to promote our economic recovery as quickly as possible. We have highlighted the importance of revenue mobilization, expenditure control, and the implementation of decisive reforms to kickstart our growth. Encouragingly, there's broad alignment with the international community that our policy orientation is not only proactive but also well anchored, and they are convinced that they should support our overall ambitions in this regard. We are advancing our discussions with our international bondholders and other external commercial creditors. Earlier today, as you know, we hosted a successful webcast informing our commercial creditors of our economic and financial situation, while also highlighting the broad contours of Ghana's debt restructuring strategy.
Meanwhile, the finance minister has insisted that government is not embarking on any new domestic debt exchange program targeted at pension funds.
You look at it in line with the 22nd December memorandum of understanding that we had, that we signed with organized labor associations. Government's pension funds were exempted, as you know, and that has not changed. It's therefore really not correct to say that we are planning a second round of domestic debt exchange program with pension funds. What we are doing is working with them on how they can further help government to reduce the debt servicing and ensure that we maintain sort of debt sustainability, which was in the MOU agreement. And so those discussions are continuing.
So, excuse me. So we can state emphatically there isn't going to be any sort of domestic debt restructuring or a second phase, so that we can debunk the report that we are seeing in Accra.
Yeah, in terms of the DDEP, that's correct. You know that we still have cocoa bills to work with, and the domestic dollar bonds that we are still working on, but I really debunk any sense that there's a second round of domestic debt exchange program going.
The finance minister addressing the press at Washington, D.C. in the U.S. Now, Ghana is likely to get an executive board approval for a program from the International Monetary Fund next month. That's a session by Face Solutions. According to the market information and research firm, once an official creditor committee is formed, hopefully by the end of this month, the fund will approve a program for the country. The finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, has already hinted that Ghana will get a program from the fund in May. Now, speaking at its latest Sub-Saharan Africa macroeconomic update, senior country risk analyst Mike Kuniga said the program will boost investor sentiments to revive growth.
In order to get IMF executive board approval, Ghana needs to obtain what the IMF calls necessary financing assurances from its international creditors, which ultimately means that an official creditor committee needs to be set up in order to restructure Ghana's external debt. Paris Club members have said that they are ready to form such a committee, but there has been very limited info on Ghana's largest creditor, which is China. Our current forecasts are predicated on the assumption that an official creditor committee will be formed in the second quarter of 2023, so that's within the next couple of weeks or so, which will then unlock critical IMF assistance. Once this happens, we expect investor sentiment towards Ghanaian assets to improve, which will see the exchange rate strengthen somewhat, which in turn will allow inflation to come down more substantially.
Partner Deloitte Ghana Yaolati joins us on Zoom with some analysis to the developing story from Washington, D.C. Good afternoon to you. So the Finance Minister, Kenneth Verrett, announcing that Ghana is set to secure financing assurance from the Paris Club of Creditors in the coming weeks. That essentially seals an IMF Executive Board approval, does it?
Yeah, so I think thank you very much and good afternoon to you and your viewers as well as listeners. So this is good news and it's good for the market, particularly given the uncertainty that arose as a result of our inability to meet the March ending deadline, which was previously communicated by government. And when we missed the March deadline, some uncertainties were created in the market. And the analysts in the market started expressing worry and concern that we could not meet the March deadline. So this is good news, and I think it's good for the Ghanaian market and it's good for the Ghanaian economy as well.
Well, so financing assurance from the Paris Club, I guess, will certainly come with some responsibilities on us. What would that be?
Yeah, so I think like most of the creditors have expressed, their key concern is for us to secure debt sustainability or reach debt sustainability. And so what they will be very much interested in agreeing on terms with us is terms that will ensure that we reach some level of debt sustainability. Because it is not only in the interest of Ghana to reach debt sustainability, but it's also in the interest of external creditors, particularly our commercial lenders, that Ghana reaches debt sustainability. If you look at our debt profile, it consists of our Euro bonds, other commercial creditors, bilateral creditors. And among the bilateral creditors, our single most important and largest bilateral creditor is China. And China has shifted positions recently. And so China doesn't adopt or has not adopted some intransigent positions as people have communicated or people have made or the impression has been created in the past. China has been quite somewhat flexible. And so we expect other external creditors, particularly commercial creditors, to also be very flexible in terms of what conditions they impose on the country and then what terms they reach. So that at the end of the day, Ghana has the necessary fiscal space to grow the economy, create employment, be able to generate a lot more tax revenue or revenue for government in order to service the debt. I think that's the most important. We should not be interested in getting this debt repaid and then Ghana not able to generate enough revenue or enough cash flows to pay or service the debt.
All right, and there is optimism that we would secure a program next month. Don't know if you are of the same view, and I'd like to know your thoughts on that. And we are also working towards a 3-year extended credit facility. The last time I checked, any chances that would change?
Yeah, so I think that is a very good thing. And for me, the indications are clear from the communication, the message that we are getting from government and other sources. Our single most important hurdle to cross is our external debt or external creditors. And so if we are able to reach terms with the external creditors, then we are almost close to signing a program, which in my view should be cleaner than what we experienced in the domestic front. Because the domestic front had a lot of stakeholders who needed to be engaged and not very useful, the debt restructuring that we are currently imposed on them. But the external creditors are very much aware of some of these debt restructuring programs. They've seen in other countries, we've seen Zambia and others go through it. And so our external creditors are a lot more organized and are prepared for debt restructuring. So we don't expect that to be a long-drawn and prolonged engagement. We expect that to be quickly concluded, hopefully before the end of the month, by which time we've also prepared to sign on to the program.
All right. So assuming we seal a deal in May, what should we brace ourselves for? We hear a lot about austerity. I mean, what would the coming days look like for us?
So I think the good thing is we got hints of that in the 2023 budget statement. And it's clear that an IMF program comes with the imposition of taxes, either new taxes or revision or amendment of existing tax laws. So that we saw these three revenue bills that were passed are all in line with securing an IMF program and also supporting an IMF program. What we expect to happen subsequent to that is either freeze on employment or freeze on government programs, which at the moment we are not too clear which of these programs or which of these employment or sectors will be affected by that. But at the end of it all, programs such as the IMF program that we are signing to require that we generate enough revenue so that our revenue base will be wider and we'll be able to achieve our debt sustainability. But we expect a lot more to happen when the terms are announced after the program has been reached.
All right, we are looking forward to the terms being announced. Thank you so much for speaking with us, Yaolati. Good to speak with you, his partner at Deloitte Ghana. Well, so back to Washington, D.C., the World Bank has agreed to commit $250 million to support the Ghana Stability Fund. This is part of the donor funding that is expected to support the establishment of the $1.5 billion fund. Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta announced this in Washington, D.C., and he's been given more details. Take a listen.
Surely, the meetings have afforded us the opportunity to discuss the importance of maintaining Ghana's financial stability in the wake of the domestic debt exchange program. The World Bank has committed $250 million to the Ghana Financial Stability Fund, and we do continue to encourage other multilateral development banks and bilateral partners to assist the government of Ghana to secure the stability of our financial sector. Our delegation also participated in a roundtable with the U.S. Business Council for International Understanding to discuss Ghana's economic recovery and the private sector's critical role in supporting job creation and investments. As you know, the fund programs a lot of consolidation and austerity, and we are very committed to a growth agenda which will require private sector engagement. So we met with representatives from Boeing, Citibank, Google, HP, Cosmos, Newmont, quite a number of others, Bayer, Novartis, John Deere, and even a company that works on shea butter, which was really good. We also had Flutterware and Shell, and many other companies with interest in doing business in Ghana. That was a very spirited engagement, and you can see the excitement of them looking to come to the country or even increase their investments in the country.
All right, the finance minister there from Washington, D.C. Let's turn to the money market. Interest rates shot up marginally again for the third week running as government recorded 7.5% oversubscription of treasury bills to the tune of 1.79 billion cedis. That's according to the latest auction. Patrick Edemagama has been monitoring. He's head of trading at Republic Securities. He's on Zoom with me. So give us a rundown, Patrick, from last Friday.
So what we've seen that the target for last week was 1.7, but the government was able to cross that particular target. We saw the 91-day clearing at 19.74%, recording a jump by 5.1 basis points. We saw the 91-day treasury bill closing at 22.47, recording a 22.4 basis point jump. However, we saw to 26.9 and a decrease by the 64-day bill, a decrease by 5.65%. What actually happened last week, we were able to see that if you look at the bid range, you will see that the government maintained the same bid range we saw the last time. So investors bidded the highest for 91 days at 20% interest rate, and that is a good sign of what we are going through now.
Yeah, so interest rates rising marginally for the third week. What are you reading into that and the likely impact on the markets going forward?
Okay, so yes, the uncertainty we are seeing the economy is actually showing early interest rate where investors' appetites are rising, they expect it to keep rising, and they will continue to bid more until we see some stability in the economy. Other indicators are also in the same direction.
Patrick, we are losing your audio. I don't know what the problem is. We are barely able to hear you. So we are going to try once again. We are making a point.
Hello, please can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better.
Great. So I was saying that other economic indicators are actually showing that interest rates should be rising. So investors are actually following this trend and also placing their bids accordingly.
Right. And on the capital market, the Ghana Stock Exchange is expected to perform positively this week, led by Benso Oil Palm Plantation and Guel. Tell us what you're reading from where you are.
Well, as we can already see, Benso Oil Palm has reached another all-time high, jumping by 1.28 to reach 14.11 already for today. We can see that the bid for Benso Oil Palm is rising and keeps rising against the supply on the market. MTN is also mounting in bids against the limited supply. Although last week we saw a dip in MTN by 4.76%. We expect this week to also see some interest in Total, where investors will keep showing interest, and then we'll see how that reflects in price.
All right. Patrick Agama, Head of Trading, Republic Securities, appreciate your time with us this afternoon. We are taking you all the way to South Africa. Chairman of the Magdan Group of Companies, Dr. Daniel Macaulay, is urging Ghanaian businesses to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area in order to expand the operations. The Magdan Group was the first African business to secure a partnership with the Continental Free Trade Area, which will allow the private firm Shipping Line the opportunity to load and transport goods across AfCFTA member countries. Now, speaking exclusively to JoyNews' Blaise Suga at the African Continental Free Trade Area Business Forum in South Africa, Dr. Macaulay underscored the tremendous opportunities the trade agreement presents to the private sector.
The continental free trade is going on, but a lot of people really don't understand what is going on. As a businessman, I really want to take a full share of what is going on. That is why I'm here.
For you as a businessman, how are you positioning, for instance, some of your investments and your businesses that cuts across the continent to ensure that we take advantage, or you take advantage of the opportunities that the Continental Free Trade Area will present?
Okay, if you remember, I signed an MOU. I was the first African to actually sign an MOU with the Continental Free Trade Secretariat.
Wow, your company was the first?
I was the first to sign the MOU with them, and also to help with the guided trade. I approached them. Right now we have procured 2 cargo planes and also a vessel to support the movement. And if you ask me, this is a fantastic movement, and looking at what is going on in the African continent, every businessman's position is there, but we are taking it to another level, because the whole thing is about trade. The whole thing is about moving cargo. I mean, if we had to do with trade, Magdan, obviously, you know, is an African giant when it comes to movement. So we have really positioned ourselves with the contract that we signed with them. We have started the movement, and if you see what is going on here right now, it's about quotas, tariff, and policy direction and all that. But the private sector is deeply involved in whatever decision is going on here right now.
So what message do you have for other Ghanaian entrepreneurs, businessmen who are not seeing the opportunities as you see it? Do you have a message for the private sector in Ghana relating to the Continental Free Trade area?
Well, you ask me, I'll tell every businessman in Ghana that we shouldn't joke with this movement. We shouldn't joke with this Continental Free Trade, because the earlier you position yourself, the better it is. And we are talking about $3.4 trillion movement yearly, doing business with 1.6 billion people across the continent. I see it big. I mean, there's nothing that is so big than this in the African continent. As we all know that Africa is green,
right.
And I always say that the early bird catches the worm. So I will encourage every businessman to participate in what is going on. It's a big thing, and it depends on how you see business and your taste for business. And I will encourage every businessman to participate, at least to have an idea about what is going on and see where you can also slot yourself in the whole continent.
Right. And going forward, well, businessmen don't usually do that, but are we to expect more from the Magdan Group? What's next in line for you, not just in relation to investments in Ghana, but all across the African continent? Are there some plans that perhaps you want to put up
most
there?
Definitely. You see, what is going on is it's about time Ghanaian businesses go international.
Okay.
No, we have sat for so long. Always businesses are coming to us, and we have to be a bit bold, we have to be a bit aggressive, we have to be a bit industrious, we have to be a bit innovative to be able to take the business to other continents, other countries. And within this there's a lot of needs in Niger, there's a lot of needs in Nigeria, there's a lot of needs in South Africa where we are right now. So whilst we are home base, we have to think of taking the business to other places. As I always say, we are living in Ghana, but we don't own anything.
Right.
See, I mean, every business is owned by mostly foreigners. And I mean, the dominated businesses I'm talking about. So it's about time we take the business out of Ghana to other foreign countries.
All right, JoyNews is Blazer Sugar covering the After Business Forum in South Africa. He was speaking there exclusively with Chairman of the Magdan Group of Companies, Dr. Daniel Macaulay. There'll be more coming from there in the coming days. But let's turn to some other stories we are following for you. Despite a trying year, Rotarians in District 19102 were able to push through some important projects that elevated vulnerable lives and communities. District 9102, made up of Ghana, Togo, Benin, and Niger, under the leadership of Governor Victor Yao Asante, gave $5 million to provide potable drinking water, access to healthcare, economic empowerment, as well as education. Speaking to Joy Business at the 10th District Training Assembly and Conference, Mr. Asante indicated that they are poised to undertake more projects in the coming days.
Delved into the district's operations, discussed its achievements and challenges, as well as facilitate major leadership and training events. According to District Governor Victor Yao Asante, more objectives and plans are developed for implementation soon.
Well, it's just a conference of stock taking. We have focus areas. Our work is to serve our communities. So basically, once in a while, we come together to look at what we have done and what we could do to improve it and all of that. So this is what it's about. We're all here together to, first of all, check on what we've done well, what we need to do on. We need to do more. Our work is focused on our communities, so that's why we're doing this. So our district is made up of 4 countries: Ghana, Togo, Niger, and Mali. But we also know that other countries have joined, from Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, and so on have joined, even though they are not in our district. So I think our core countries are 4, but there are a few other visitors with us. As you know, Rotary has been in Ghana since 1958. We work with our communities. There are 62 Rotary clubs in Ghana as I speak, working our communities throughout the country to try and make some change in the communities. So anything we do, we have 6, 7 focus areas that we work on. Basic education and literacy, maternal and child health care, environment, conflict resolution, water and sanitation, community and economic interventions and so on.
Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Mohamed Awal, called on the district to aid in supporting entrepreneurs to create more jobs in the country.
According to the World Bank and the United Nations, one critical factor that drives young people to tourism is lack of opportunity, jobs, and income. It is therefore important that as we deliberate here, let's see how we can put opportunities for young people to have jobs. One area that we do in Ghana is entrepreneurship and mentoring. Mentorship and entrepreneurship are very important for us to stem the tide of young people joining terrorist groups in Africa. 250,000 young people graduate from our country's Ghana's institutions every year. Less than 10% of them have jobs in the formal sector. The rest do not have jobs. I therefore want to urge you and impress you as we deliberate that look at mentorship, which is part of the educational thing, and entrepreneurship as key. It's very important for us. In the last 10 years, all young people who set up business in this country are below 40 years. Many young people are ready and willing. They need entrepreneurship skills, they need some funding to expand their businesses. And I think that Rotary International, please look at it and add it part of your discussion.
This year's conference was under the theme Beyond Imagination. Rotarians in District 9102 have chartered new clubs, increased membership, developed leaders, and increased their portfolio of humanitarian service projects. They have contributed immensely to Rotary initiatives, achieving many successes worldwide.
All right, that's the program this afternoon. Thanks for watching, everyone. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Daryl Kwawu. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time tomorrow.